This route is Graceland at the Graceland Crag at Grassy Lakes, just outside of Canmore, Alberta. This is a 510d, and it is probably the most popular route at the crag, and it's the most noticeable because it's the steepest climb at the Graceland Crag. It starts off with some fairly large moves on really nice jugs. It's pretty straightforward to begin with, but if you're a little bit hesitant to make big moves, you can get pumped out fairly easily on the smaller holds in between the huge holds. So it starts off probably with some 10A moves, and then as you go up, the angle of the wall gradually starts to overhang. And some of the draws are on the route because I had led it earlier and had a couple friends top rope it and just left up some draws for directionality because it's so steep. So now the holds start to go from being really massive jugs to still jugs, but they're a lot wider, and the angle of the route gets a little bit more overhung, so you're starting to grip the holds a little bit more aggressively, but still really fun, straightforward climbing. And the crux of this route is pulling the roof. So I'm just starting to get to where the roof begins. So there's a fairly specific sequence. You hit this undercling with your right hand, and then you go out left to a jug, and then right hand to another jug. But it's easy to get lost with all the other holds that are available. There's a bunch of holds up higher above where my right hand is, but they're not as good. And this part of the route is a little bit committing because the distance between the last clip and the next clip is probably about just 2.5 meters. So if you take a fall, it's going to wake you up. So you go left hand over the roof, get your foot out, and then this right hand, I had a hard time finding where to grab it because below where my right hand is now, there's kind of a crimp, and that's what I was going to before. And then the left hand goes up to a pocket, which actually is a Gaston, because if you just pull directly down on it, it doesn't really work. So you can see my left hand there, it's kind of at an angle. Making that clip. And then basically once you get that left hand torqued in that pocket, it kind of boosts your confidence, and you can just work over the lip of the roof into some really nice positive jugs that I had put some tick marks on for my friends, which I brushed off after I was on the route, but it's just there to sort of help out. And then once you get over this roof, it's just really easy and juggy, fun climbing. So you can kind of see the overhang there, and the fact that you can't see the start of the route at all.
That's exactly what this sound like. A to the L-I-Y, A-H, give it up 2 times, they give it right back, don't blow my high.
And from this point on, it's probably 5'9". But if you're climbing pretty hard, you have a decent pump going, and the moves still feel fairly rewarding when you pull through them because you're a little bit pumped.
Industry of counterfeits. Look at my life to look at yours. Get some ambition while you bored. Time will never wait on no man. Society will never hold your hand. Niggas like the gossip.
And it's also a lot easier to go from the type of rock at the bottom where it's just tons of features and holds everywhere. Sometimes it's difficult to spot the best holds to go for, whereas this top section, the limestone, is featured differently, and it's a lot easier to map out the moves in your head before you actually go to do them. And these holds are, like the holds that I'm on right now, they have kind of like that sticky coral feel to them, where you can just sort of put your hands onto them and it velcros to the rock, which it really inspires confidence and allows you to move really freely with your feet and trust your feet on even things that aren't the best. There's a couple of moves here with your feet where the holds are kind of faced the wrong way, but you just sort of trust it because your hands are so good in these massive buckets. And yes, I did pull on that block with the X, and I didn't notice it, but I did notice it when I was cleaning the anchor, and I put an even bigger X on it, because someday that's going to pop off. And yeah, that's Graceland at Grassy Lakes.